Good evening, everyone. A warm welcome to each one of you. I am CA Supriya Samant, and I'm truly honored to be here as the moderator for today's insightful session, Embracing Growth Mindset Amid Professional Competition. Let me begin by expressing my heartfelt appreciation to ICI's Committee on Promoting Work Life Balance for curating such meaningful conversations. This committee reminds us that behind every designation and deadline is a human being, and how we think, grow, and evolve truly matters. This initiative is led by CA Jay Chaira, Chairman of the committee, CA Sridhar Mupala, Vice Chairman, and ably supported by CA Priyamvada Chabra, Secretary to the committee. My sincere thanks to all three for their vision and commitment to holistic professional well being. In today's fast paced, high pressure environment, the ability to adapt, bounce back, and stay open to learning is no longer optional. It's essential. And that's where the concept of growth mindset comes in. It's not just a buzzword, but a powerful transformative approach to building both professional resilience and inner clarity. We are into a very powerful session today, and I'm so glad to have all of you here. And now, to formally set the tone for this evening, it's my honor to introduce the Vice Chairman of the committee, CA Sridhar Mupala, sir. So, to tell you a little about him, I'm sure most of you must be knowing him already. He is a visionary leader and inspiring force in the accounting profession. Currently serving his second term as a Central Council member of ICI from the Southern region, he leads with purpose and passion. As chairman of the research committee and a key force behind digital re-engineering, work-life balance, and fund management at ICI, his contributions are shaping the future of the profession. From a humble background to securing an All India rank in CA Intermediate, his journey is of resilience, purpose, and the transformative power of education. A powerful orator and change maker, he has been recognized with the Leadership Award for Excellence in Education from the Chief Minister of Andhra Pradesh and the Times Education Icon Award for his contributions to both accounting and education sector. We are privileged to have him with us today. I now invite C.A. Sridhar sir to share his thoughts and deliver the opening remarks.
Thank you, Supriya. Good evening to one and all the participants, and today's speaker, Rupal, and all the team of Work-Life Balance Committee. So let me start reminding you, this is the first year we have formed this committee, Work-Life Balance. A lot of challenges, a lot of questions also came to us because whenever a situation of extended work comes, our staff ourselves will remind, sir, we are in a Work-Life Balance Committee. But as we started doing the activities, the response was tremendous. Especially these webinars, which are going on in a weekly basis, the participation, the increased participation actually shows the impact of this. And coming to the today's topic, yes, growth mindset amid professional competition. See, growth mindset is a need because if we go back to hundreds or thousands of years, where we were and what we are today. So in every growth, we always say the necessity is the mother of invention. Even our own self, if we go back and see a decade back, what we were and what we are in today, everything we have learned only under the circumstances. So it's all depends on our mindset, whether I want to put myself in a comfort zone or whether I want to put myself on a next level of a league. So therefore, that actually brings out your true competence and potential. At the same time, in a country like India, populated, see, I always see whenever we go to a Western world, we struggle to get the things done by ourselves. But today, India, being a manpower country or a populated country, we have all the services available, people. So the benefits of it in the form of all category of services, at the same time, the competitive world will be there. The best of the competition may at times deprive you of opportunities, but at the same time brings the best in you. Probably we may not recognize our true potential unless we face the competition. I was reading one quotation written by one of the Middle East king. If you are If you want the best out of it, face the best competition. That's where the realistic output comes. Otherwise, you are afraid. Only people who are afraid will be not facing the competition. So today, the way we see the perception, whether my colleague has done, my junior has done, or senior has done, there is a learning in everything. So therefore, today's webinar, I'm sure, with the renowned speaker Rupal, we'll have a good time. And I request all the speakers also at the end, let's have if any questions or interactive, let's possibly understand. Why I'm saying so is in a journey, probably one small idea, one small quotation, one small word might have changed our perception of thinking. I'm sure today's session will have a greater impact. Each one of us take that competitive environment positively, learn out of it, and add to our professional journey. So I once again appreciate Supriya for coordinating and the speaker of the day for taking out your valuable time and being a part of this session. At the same time, I also appreciate the Work-Life Balance Committee team under Priyamvada for taking such nice initiatives and topic because the feedback what we got is really amazing one. So let's have a wonderful learning time. I request Supriya to take the session forward.
Thank you so much, sir, for your insights and the wonderful opening remarks. Now, let me introduce everyone to our speaker, CA Rupal Garg. So, CA Rupal Garg is a chartered accountant and a passionate educator who wears many hats with ease and excellence. CA Rupal Garg is not only practicing CA but is also an accomplished faculty member, speaker, and contributor to various government and academic initiatives. His sessions have benefited professionals from Comptroller and Auditor General of India, Ministry of Finance, SEBI, and MSME bodies. And he continues to be a trusted voice on topics like taxation, GST, public finance, and entrepreneurship. He has delivered training sessions across the country and mentored thousands of students as a faculty for ICI's Board of Studies and beyond. His journey is marked by academic distinction, professional dedication, and inspiring commitment to nation building through education. We are really privileged to have him with us today. Sir, please, you may begin with the session.
Thank you, Supriya ma'am, for the lovely introduction. First of all, my greetings and uh, thank you, hearty welcome, gratefulness to Honorable Vice Chairman sir, Sridhar sir, and Committee on Promoting Work-Life Balance of ICI, all the viewers, and definitely, as Supriya ji mentioned, that we're all humans, and definitely there's a tendency for all of us to sort of work out ourselves and burn out ourselves in a longer term. And what is exactly the need for us to actually sort of care for us? And in this competitive environment today, where we have a lot of competition from other professions also, how can chartered accountants stand out as the sort of leader and sort of the symbol of excellence is what we are going to discuss today. I'll very quickly share my PPT, and definitely we're going to have some learnings. We'll start with this. Let's, Priya ma'am, please let me know when the PPT is visible.
Yes, it's visible. It's visible.
All right. Again, very quickly, I'll begin by extending my gratitude and my sincere sort of words of appreciation for the committee and for all the members who have actually joined this for a very noble cause. As I mentioned, that this committee has been recently formed, and there have been questions about what exactly is the need for this, and in the sessions that we've had in the previous few days, and definitely we can find out that this was actually the need of the hour, and a growth mindset in amidst all the professional competitions is actually the need of the hour. And before we start the session, definitely for any sort of session, any sort of get together, we do have some prerequisites. All right. And I'll also state out all the prerequisites that we have for today's session. I have very simple and basic prerequisites, and we'll have a recap of all of this. Let's see if all of us fit to this. The first thing is, we're all humans. This is the first prerequisite of attending this session, that we're all humans. Yes, definitely there are no extraterrestrial beings on this session. Second, we all have 24 hours. That's true also. Nobody has little lesser or extended 24 hours until unless you're traveling overseas. Due to the time difference, you might have some difference of hours, but generally speaking, all of us have 24 hours to accomplish any sort of task that we're given. Another very good point is that we have all qualified C exams, and that's a brilliant thing. That's a brilliant point. You, myself, and each one of us, we have all qualified CA exams, and that's a very, very big filter. Because let's face it, CA exams, as we all know, of course, are the most competitive exams in this country. And once you have qualified CA exams, I don't think there's a need to prove to anyone how good you are. And there's a saying in my city that you don't get to become CA, you get to become CA Sahab. And that's true for all of us. That all of us have are truly in CA Sahab, CA Sir, yes, CA Ma'am. So the three prerequisites. There's another one. There's one very important prerequisite is that we're all alive. So we do have still some time left on this heavenly abode, and we still have sort of scope for improvement, room for improvement. And the most important one, after the four prerequisites, the most important one is that we haven't met our creator yet. That's another very important point, that we are still to meet the creator. And given the fact that all five prerequisites are met by all of us, this will tell you how tremendous an opportunity we have in front of us. We definitely have a lot to learn. We still have room to fail. We still have room to grow ourselves, and the growth begins from this within. So, with this recap and this prerequisite set, let's set the agenda for today's session. We have some heavily loaded agenda for today's session. The agenda is all the text that you're seeing on the screen. The crux of all this text is that how to improve yourself, how to sort of be a better version of yourself. And that's very important, that today, 19th of June, 5 p.m., I started this session. 2 hours later, I should be a better version of myself. And let me tell all my dear colleagues, and I hope we're all on the same tangent, that after the session is done, let me make you three promises. Let me start by making three promises of that I can do for all of you. The first promise is that after the session is done, you'll completely have a different version of yourself. Allow me 2 hours of indulgence, and after the session is done at 7 p.m. today, 19th of June, mark this day, you'll have a completely different version of yourself. That's my first promise to all of you. Second promise is that after the session is done, uh, all of you are going to have a ready-made solution to any of the sort of problem that you might encounter in future times. So what I'm guaranteeing you is, I'm a bit of a salesman here. What I'm guaranteeing you is 100% solution to all of the problems that you might encounter in the coming days. That's my second promise. And my third promise is a promise that I won't tell you now. It's a promise that I'll reveal at the end of the session. So, three promises, two of them are shared with all of you. And with this, let's get started. All right. First of all, it's very important to realize that this term mindset is a very comprehensive word, and mindset is something which is deep enrooted in your subconscious. Myself, see, a Rupal Garg can never tell you that see, you need to change your mindset. Why? Because mindset is something that is sort of prepared with all the ingredients that are put into your brain right from your childhood, right from the moment a person is born, right from what are all the conversations happening around that person growing up, what is the sort of family background that a person has, what is the sort of challenges that they have faced in life, what are their expectations from their own self. These are very important key factors to determine what a mindset of a person is. So I'm nobody to tell you that you must change your mindset, but I'm also here to tell you that the mindset is of two types. As you can see on the screen, there's a fixed mindset and there's a growth mindset. Talking simply in terms of chartered accountants, as all of us belong to the same field, you see, many chartered accountants when in on 1st of July 2017, there was a major event happening, right? 1st of July 2017 a boom happened. What happened? GST got implemented in India. Now, with GST came the opportunity for most of us and also a threat for some of us. Who were the ones who took this opportunity and rose to a new tangent? The ones who were actually willing to outgrow themselves. The ones who were either practicing VAT or service tax or some other taxation. They were ready to unlearn the old thing and learn the new one. So that was my mindset. If that was my mindset, then I had a growth mindset, and that led me to today, 8 years later. Now we are about to have the eighth happy birthday of GST. 1st of July is coming. We'll very soon have a cake cutting ceremony for GST 8th. And you can see in those last 8 years how much GST has actually benefited us chartered accountants. I, for one, started my career with GST. I qualified around the same time. And also, let me tell my dear colleagues that I did not choose GST. Rather, GST chose me. And I honestly had no clue about what to do with GST. What was GST? I only had studied it for a little brief period of time in my studies. And uh, when the opportunities came, I had to take those opportunities. I had to get out of that fixed mindset that no, I cannot do this. So now, in the coming times, 2025, we are in the June of 2025. Sir, what next? What lies next for me? In the field of chartered accountancy, all of us know that the coming future belongs to automation. It belongs to AI. It belongs to RPA. What are we doing about it? What are we doing about it? How are we upskilling ourselves? How are we making sure that we do not miss the bus? So to make sure that we do not miss the bus, it's very, very important that we run for the bus and take a middle seat and take a very nice seat for us to have a very good panoramic view of the world. For that, we need to ensure we get on the right bus. Fixed mindset is never going to let us take anywhere. Growth mindset, on the other hand, is going to show us the doors for opportunities. It is going to show us numerous occasions, opportunities, and it is now for us to take it up for grabs. Any person who would know how to file a form 3CD, 3CB, 3CA, they would know that doing it manually using the utility is sort of a tedious task, and it takes time. So what have we come up with? We have come up with a sort of software which has helped us to file this tax audit reports in a very timely manner, in a very quick manner. When we think of GSTR 2B reconciliation, 2A 2B reconciliation, we're doing it on a daily basis. What are we doing? Are we manually tallying each bill? No, certainly not. We're doing it through softwares. And are these softwares all developed by someone else? No. Many of those softwares are Excel based softwares developed by my own, as per my own requirements, as per comfort zone. So this is what I've done. This is most of us what we have done. We have been in a growth mindset, looking at what my opportunities are lying ahead of me. We have sort of adapted ourselves to the current situation. And the one very key important word is adaptability. With this, I'll take you to a very, very interesting story. Now, before we move on to the story, the city that I belong to is a very historic city. Many of you have been to this city, and for those who have already not been to this city, you've always wanted to visit my city. Now, it's such a city that it is probably more renowned in the entire world, even more than the big shots like Delhi, Mumbai, Chennai, Kolkata. No, my city is the one probably get you more attention around the world. Any guesses, Supriya ma'am? Where am I from? Any of the participants could guess? It's a historic city, and it's a city which everybody knows in the world. Any participant?
The Pink City by any chance?
No, not the Pink City. Very close to the Pink City, about 200 kilometers from the Pink City. Uh, the city that I live in was once the administrative capital of the nation. And I think some of you might have guessed right. I am from the city of Agra, the city renowned for Taj.
Okay. Oh, lovely. Yeah.
Taj Mahal is a wonder which will get you known around the world. And this is how I introduce myself around the world. So Taj Mahal is the symbol of my city. Another very, very, very fond symbol of my city, one very famous dish was that petha. I'm sure many of you must have heard of it. It's a sweet delicacy. It's made of white pumpkin. And now the story that I'm about to tell you is Agra's petha story, the setback and the comeback. Now, for those of you who have already visited Agra once, you must have tried this petha. It's a sweet delicacy. There's a story behind it, and the story is of resilience. The story is of setback. The story is of comeback. How to get yourself in a stronger position. There's a sort of inspiration that we can take from the story. Now, of course, my city, it is known for Taj Mahal, and Taj Mahal provides for a lot of livelihood for the nearabouts. About in the 15th or 16th century, when Shah Jahan was the ruler, in my city, uh, petha came up to be a very, sort of trendy dish, which was served to the vegetarian guests. And over the years, petha, it made up its name. And there were many sort of markets which were dedicated just to this petha, Nuri Gate, Sadar Bazaar, Tajganj, all these areas, they were sort of the hotspots of the petha industry. And 20th century almost became Agra's. And apart from Taj Mahal, if one thing was famous with petha, one thing was associated with Agra, it was petha. And due to the proximity of Taj Mahal, all the let's say the tourists or the guests who were arriving to visit Taj Mahal, they definitely had to have a taste of it. Now, what happened? Petha is a dish which is made in furnaces. Now, furnaces are in Hindi, in local language, we call it bhatti. These are coal run. Now, when these furnaces or bhatti, they are run in coal, they sort of emit smoke, and that smoke travels into air, and that affected the white marble stone of Taj Mahal. Now, there was a ruling in Supreme Court, December 30, 1996. It is still known as a black day for many traders in Agra. On that day, the Supreme Court ordered creation of a Taj Trapezium Zone, which is called TTZ. Now, since all the petha makers, they were using bhattis or furnaces for cooking all this chashni, now because of this TTZ, they had two choices. Either to close down your shop, as shown in the given picture, or you can shift to a sort of cleaner energy. Now, closing a shop is not easily done, right? And shifting to a new fuel, which is cleaner, is also not that easily done because it requires a lot of capital intensive investment. And small shopkeepers, they were not able to do that. So as a result, what happened in the 10,400 square kilometer area around the Taj Mahal monument, most of these shops, these little furnaces, butties, they eventually died down. And the people who livelihood running from all of this, they started looking at Taj Mahal not as a boon, but as a curse. And definitely the people, they had some serious problems going on there. So this was the black history of petha, and how the taste of petha from sweet, it turned into sour. Now, from the setback, let's talk about the resilience. The local artisans, their spirit, it did not die. They had grit in their hands, they had tradition in their hearts. They actually, with the help of governments, NGOs, and with the will in their hearts, they embraced cleaner fuels. They revived age-old recipes, and they reimagined their shops as hygienic, tourist friendly, and made the packaging a little bit more, better to look at. The flavors also, they made some changes in this, and they sort of did their best how to make a comeback in this industry. Result: a few months ago, Agra's Petha got a GI tag. The industry has now grown to 800 crores. Now, 800 crores might look as a very, very small number, but when you put the fact into mind that this industry belongs not to large factories or large in corporations, it belongs to small shopkeepers for whom a turnover of just 1.5 cr, 2 cr means a lot. So you'll definitely appreciate the comeback that this petha industry has made in itself. This is the story of resilience. And this tells you a very, very important fact that change is the only constant. Growing up, I'm sure all of you must have also, learned about this, that sun is the only stationary object in the planet, in the solar system, and every planet revolves around the sun. Is it same now? Is it same now? Do we still believe it? Of course not, because we have got to learn that sun is not stationary. Sun is also moving. It is moving in its own orbit. And a few years ago, a few centuries ago, what did we learn? The thought process was that even Earth was stationary and everything around revolves around it. And everybody, until one madman with the name of Nicholas Copernicus had the guts to believe, think, reimagine, and propagate to the world that this, in fact, what every one of you is saying is wrong. And in fact, the sun does not revolve around the earth revolves around the sun. Now, those belief systems were challenged. It's not easy for anyone to change their belief system just like that. It takes a lot of time. And I always say, and I'll tell my participants this, that acceptance takes time. And I want to repeat that again because it's a very important phrase. And I often keep saying that to myself, that acceptance, it takes time. If it is spontaneous, it is the recurrence of the no. If it is spontaneous, it is recurrence of the known, because acceptance takes time. When I started this session, I'll say about 20 minutes ago, most of you were still looking at me with a sort of a doubt in your mind, and you had no expectations from this. You were adapting to my voice, you were adapting to my demeanor, my way of speaking. Now, since 20 minutes have elapsed, and now you've sort of been comfortable in the manner I'm speaking, in my voice tone, and in the manner that I'm engaging with all of you. So I think probably some of you might have accepted me, and it took time. It was not spontaneous. But once, let me tell you, what once we have already met, maybe we meet again. Now, do you need time to get adjusted to my voice? No, of course not. Because it's a recurrence of the known. We've already known this. And it's a recurrence. So it's a very important fact to know that acceptance always takes time. When we go out in the middle and we say that the mindset should be of growth mindset, it's very easier said than actually done. The reason is that you're actually getting out of your comfort zone, and getting out of your comfort zone is not that easy. I belong to North India, where getting out from your bed in the winters at 6:30 in the morning, not that easy. But we had to take those coachings, we had to take those classes, we had to take those buses, we had to take those sessions, and that's why we had to get out of the bed 6:30 in the morning with fog outside, nothing, zero visibility. And I'm sure you can imagine that getting out of your comfort zone is not the easiest thing that you can do. But yes, it's the bravest thing that you can do. It's the bravest thing that you can do. And all of you, even myself, even yourself, all of us deserve a pat on our back just for doing that, just for getting out of your comfort zone. Because when we get out of the comfort zone, we actually sort of open ourselves to new challenges. And I'll say this, that challenges actually make you a better person, because either you win or you learn. There's nothing called losing. Why there's nothing called losing? Because let's say I already covered this. We're all humans. After all, we're all humans. We are all allowed to make mistakes. The only thing stopping us from moving ahead is the fear of making mistake. So, my dear sir and ma'am, let me tell you, you're allowed to make mistakes. I am allowed to make mistakes. Supriya ma'am is allowed to make mistake. Shridhar sir is allowed to make mistake. Everybody of us is allowed to make mistake. And that's what makes us human. On a lighter note, I'll discuss with you. Supriya ma'am, have you recently seen the results of the 12th class students that they were getting in the recent times, probably in the month of May? The results of CBSE and ICSE, all those were announced in the month of May. And what struck me was that these students were getting 95% like nothing. And they were sad. They were literally sad when they were actually scoring 95%. A person scoring 94%, 95% is sad. That's actually sad. Because ma'am, 95% you're scoring and then you're saying that I could not. What are we expecting? We're definitely expecting 100%.
Yes.
We're definitely expecting 100%. Let me tell you, my dear colleagues, 100% is not human. It's not even AI, because AI also can make mistakes. ChatGPT also says that ChatGPT can make mistakes. But 100% correctness, 100% accuracy is not human. When we talk of the legendary Sachin Tendulkar, the god of cricket, he always tells, do not count my centuries, count my ducks. Because I've been out on a few times I have been out on ducks. And that tells you the greatness of the man, because he is ready to admit that he's actually not God. He says that do not call me a God because I make mistakes. I'm a human. And when we realize this, all of us, when we realize this, that yes, we can make mistakes, that's a very liberating thought. That thought is going to relieve you like anything. You are allowed to make mistakes. And those scoring 95% and still crying when they get into CA and they're struggling 50-60%, God forbid, I did that. It actually shows us a mirror. It actually shows us a mirror that, look, you might be right some of the times, but you're definitely not going to be right all the times. Even the best brains of the world, they're only right about 60%, 65% times. If you can manage to be right about 50% of the time, you've done a good job. So it's very important for us to realize that we are all humans. We are allowed to make mistakes. And that's what should drive us to get out of the comfort zone. Because when we get out of the comfort zone, the only thing that delays us from getting out of the comfort zone is the fear of making mistakes and the fear of not being perfect. That's also a very, very important fact. Whatever we are doing, most of us are trying to make it perfect. Thing can be done first. It can be made perfect later. The first time is never the best time. You always have got a second chance. And I definitely I second what Mr. Harsha Bogle, famous cricket commentator, says, that life is not a T20 game. It's a test innings. It's a test match, because you always have a second innings. You are always allowed to make mistakes. So, with that belief, I'm sure that most of us tomorrow, when we wake up, we do realize this, that we've got a some time to live, and we can make mistakes. So, whatever time is left, mistakes are allowed, and we cannot allow us to get with this mindset that I am perfect in any way. Nobody is going to be perfect in any sort of way. The only person who's perfect is God. And if not God, you're not met your creator as of yet. So why do you think that you're perfect in any sort of way? There's a very beautiful verse that I often repeat from Bhagavad Gita. This is chapter 6 and verse 5. Uder Atmana Atmanam Na Atmaman Avsad Priyat. Atmev hi Atmanah Bandhu. Atmev Ripuhu Atmanam. What does it mean? It's a very simple verse. It says that the first line says, Uddherit Atmana Atmanam, which means that if you want salvation, if you want something to happen for you, you are only going to make it happen. Nobody else is going to do it for you. You are only going to make it happen. Na Atmanam Avsadaret. What does it mean? It means that you cannot let yourself slip into depression, slip into folly, slip into that state of mind where you're not able to do anything. The word avsad means that you're not able to do anything just because you have a mindset that you cannot do it. You cannot allow yourself to get into that sort of thing. Atmev hi Atmanah Bandhu, which means that you yourself are your friend, and Atmev Ripu Atmanam, which means you are your own enemy. Such a beautiful, such a simple verse, that you cannot allow yourself to get into depression, because you are the one who is the creator of your own destiny. You are the master of your fate. You are your friend and you are your own enemy. Now tell me, I'll say this very, very clearly. Supriya ma'am, I'll need your point of view on this. Ma'am, when I'm speaking, uh, do you sense a sort of nervousness?
No, I
You don't?
no nervousness. At least you're not
All right.
showing it. You're very good at it. But
Yeah,
no, you
that's
seem
very
like
important.
it's inside and it's just coming out naturally. That is what I'm getting.
Ma'am, let me share you that I'm very nervous. I was very nervous. Why? There was one simple fact that I had butterflies in my stomach. My cheeks were getting red. The ear was feeling numb, and something blackness was happening in front of me. Now, this happens to me every time I go on stage. Okay, I have got used to it that this will happen. Now, my subconscious tells me that you cannot do anything because of these feelings. You cannot go on stage and speak. That's what my subconscious tells. What my conscious tells me, of course I can do it. Of course I can speak well. And why do I sound nervous? Why don't I sound nervous? Is a very simple fact that I've got used to it. My subconscious tells me that you've got problems. My conscious tells me that no, those problems could be overcome. The second part of it is that if I am nervous for anything, it's a good thing. Why it's a good thing? Because you're nervous when you care for something. You're nervous when you actually want to do good. I was nervous because I wanted to have a great session. Now compare that when you're speaking to a child. Are you nervous? No, you're not nervous. You're just simply probably not even applying your brains. And I'll make a very, very simple analogy in this case. All of us have qualified graduation apart from our CA exams. Now, since during CA exams, you're not allowed to appear for regular graduation, you have to do it from distance learning. When we were actually appearing for the graduation exams, let's say BCom exams, the day of your BCom exams, ma'am, tell me your experience. Were you nervous? BCom exams. Not at all. Not at all.
Because it was nothing as compared to CS, so it's
Yes,
taken very
exactly.
lightly.
Exactly.
Yeah, yes.
That's the point. And also, there could be one or two mischievous persons could have got at the center and asked their friends, what paper is it today? What paper is it today? Because I've forgotten to carry a calculator. Do I need a calculator today? That's the level.
Yes.
Compare that, compare that directly to the nervousness that you were feeling on the day of your CA final exams. Tremendous. Huge. That's a perfect analogy. Why I say this? Because, sir and ma'am, let me tell you that when you're nervous for something, it actually means that you care for it. You are going to put efforts for this thing. When you get nervous for something, that means you want to do good for that thing. Whatever result that you have in your BCom exams, ma'am, and all my participants, was that the best result you could have got?
No.
Certainly not. Certainly not. You could have scored a lot more in those BCom exams. For sure. If you would have had actually put sincere efforts, just like you did in your CA final exams. But why did you not put your so much efforts? Simply because the level of care, the level of your mind into it was much, much lesser than what actual number of effort, the amount of efforts do you put in for your CA final exams. So you yourself are your best friend and you yourself are your enemy. When you were appearing for the CA final exams, you were your best friend because you were caring for yourself. And what casual approach, what casual attitude, what you had during your BCom exams, simply because those are very easy for you. You could have written those exams in your sleep and still qualified. So, this is a very favorite verse of mine which tells me that I need to get into this growth mindset. Who is going to push me into this growth mindset? Nobody else. I need to pat myself hard in the back and tell me that yes, you've got a lot of things to do. You still have time on this planet. You still need to make your mark. And that's what is going to drive me and my fellow chartered accountants to actually ensure that this chartered accountancy brand, which has had tremendous, glorious history, it still happens to do in the near future and the times to come. We still maintain the sort of reputation that our forefathers have left for us to maintain. That's the most important part of it. Moving forward, when growth mindset, there are a lot of types of growth. I'll these are very quickly I've mentioned, and I'll very simply show you a ladder. This is the growth ladder. Okay, when we talk of growth, uh, Do we imagine more money? Yes. Do we imagine more clients? Yes. What else do we imagine? We imagine a lot of things. When we think of the growth ladder, there are many things for us to imagine, but you can broadly qualify this into two types of growth. One is your personal growth, and second is your professional growth. And you would agree with me. And I'm very open to any sort of questions or discussions from participants. Ma'am, please let me know if there are any questions from the participants. We'll have a two-way interaction.
Sure, sure.
Now,
Yes.
my dear participants, when I talk of personal growth, I'm talking about the being that you are, your identity. For example, my identity is Rupal Garg, right? ICAI allowed me to use a prefix which was CA Rupal Garg. It added to my identity, and whenever I go, if I introduce myself as CA Rupal Garg, there's a presumption that I'm a sort of above average person. Since I'm a chartered accountant, I told you before, I'm not a CA, I'm a CA Sahab, I'm a CA Sir. And in my cases, I'm a CA ma'am also sometimes because of my name. Please forget that. But yes, that happens to me quite a lot often. Never mind. Uh, when you talk of growth and when you talk of personal growth, you see, my identity and my being, I first of all need to understand who I am. All right, that's a very big question. That's a very deep question. I'm just not seeing Pulgar. There's a lot of things attached to this consciousness. So, first of all, who I am and realizing that what you are is actually your intellectual growth. That's the first step of the ladder. That actually realizing who you are, what a child does. And I have a 2-year-old son, and I've been observing him for this particular reason. When he starts to speak, and he has barely started to speak now. So when he started to speak, the first words he uttered was "mummy" and "papa." Now, "mummy" and "papa" are identities that he has ascribed to two human beings. Those human beings are living with him for a lot of time. All right. Now, he, in his own mind, has made some growth intellectually to identify certain words with certain persons. We, all of us, do that at certain point of our times. And as we are growing, our intellectual growth keeps happening. We classify people as good people, bad people based on their vibes, good vibes or bad vibes. So, whatever vibes we are getting from people, that is ascribed in our minds that this person is a good person to be or a bad person to be, just with the way of speaking, just with the way of how they address things to us. So this is the first step of the ladder, that intellectual growth keeps happening throughout. That's the first basic step. The words that I'm speaking, the hand movements that I'm making, all of these things, these are part of my intellectual growth, and it keeps happening. It is never going to stop. The second is the physical growth. Physical or biological growth is something which is probably not your hands. It happens automatically. You were a child, everybody was a child. You are growing into a person, everybody is growing into a person. You are going to get old, everybody is going to get old. So this is physical growth. Physical growth or biological growth, everybody is going through that. Yes, certain people, they sort of reverse osmosis they do on themselves. They sort of age back. That's a secret. I am not sure how people do that. But for those who have already discovered that secret for the reverse age, good on you. Kudos. That's the second part, which is physical growth. All right. Some people, they join gyms, they join health centers, they work on their physiques. So to in order to get in a better shape. So that's all physical growth. The third thing is the spiritual growth. Now, spiritual growth, when we say it's a part of personal growth, and it's a thought of that this is to be done in your later ages, in your sort of retirement ages. I believe that spiritual growth is very important for any sort of person. Because again, I'll take my example, the place that I belong to, my home city. Uh, my home city is neighbored by a very prominent old time city called Mathura. I'm sure all of you must have either visited the city or wanted to visit the city. The city of Mathura and the city of Vrindavan. They're all sort of the embodiment of what spiritual growth means. A lot of people come there just to experience what spiritual growth means. Spiritual growth, in its rawest terms, it means your connection with your creator, your being, and your sense of being. And that's a very important thing. I already established that none of us have actually met our creator yet. We have only imagined our creator. We have imagined that this is God. This is the God that I'm going to worship. When I finally leave this planet, am I actually going to meet that God? What is going to happen to me? And what is going to happen to my consciousness after I leave this planet? Because everybody is going to leave this planet. Once there'll be a time that this name will only be a name. This identity will turn into memory. So we'll have nothing but memories. Probably this video will be there, but the person is not going to be there. So what will happen to my soul? And realizing that is a spiritual growth. Every chartered accountant, or I should say every professional, every person, I should say, should experience spiritual growth. In order to perfect yourself, in order to master yourself, you need to have the sort of spiritual growth in your own being. You need to realize who I am. You need to realize that how am I going to, leave this world? What memories am I going to give this world? What is the legacy that I'm going to create? So what would be my name's legacy? Am I going to be remembered as a good person, a kind person, a cruel person? What sort of a person am I going to be remembered as? So this is my spiritual growth. And the personal growth, starting with intellectual, physical, and spiritual, it has a very wide ambit. You can discover a lot of things about yourself. Then you come to your professional growth, where all of us are standing on an equal platform. All of us are chartered accountants. What is my growth? First of all, social growth. Now, social growth, your and mine, and all of us is interconnected because all of us are using the same prefix, chartered accountant. So, the brand image of chartered accountants, it gives power to me. CA Institute is not because of me. I am because of the CA Institute. And that's the realization that I need to have. That if the brand of this logo, the image of this logo, it grows stronger, it is going to directly benefit me. And when we deal with public offices, when we deal with people from different walks of life, my institute, my alma mater, should be glorified in each and every manner possible. This is not just my duty; it's my moral obligation. I am going to have some social growth because of my institute. So when I contribute in a positive manner to my institute, I've done my bit for the social growth, not just for myself, but to all the members who are watching this webinar, who are looking right into my eyes. And I'm telling all of you that whatever little contribution you're going to make is not going to indirectly or directly help you only, but to me, to Supriya ma'am, to Sridhar sir, to Premvada ma'am, to all the persons of this chartered accountancy degree. That's the first step of realizing your social growth. Next comes your personal, your career growth. It's very important for us to choose a career which will sort of take us to the path of happiness. Now, this is a very very widely discussed issue. That what is the ultimate purpose of life? Is it money? Is it fame? Is it respect? Is it what is it? And it's a very personal question. I am not going to put in any sort of weightage on any sort of word that this is the ultimate purpose. But a lot of wise men have said that happiness is actually the ultimate purpose. Could be true for you, could be not true for you. When we talk about our careers need to be taken with utmost care because it's a very personal thing. I am starting my career with a kickstart because of this CA degree. I am not going to, work up my way from junior level to higher levels. Because I am a CA, I sometimes I get a direct admission to places. Now comes my opportunity and my responsibility to actually make good use of that name. And now my career growth. How can chartered accountants actually make their careers fly away, make their careers take off in a such a beautiful manner, and make their careers of such importance that they're actually proud of it when they're at the age of say 60, 70, 80, whatever the age they're done at. They can actually look back and be proud of the efforts that they have taken. So that's your career growth. We'll have a discussion on that too. Then comes the financial growth. That's more important. That's probably the last step of the ladder. But again, many people put it on the first step. Financial growth, although it comes in the last step, but you see, there's no growth which is of greater importance than financial growth. This is actually true because nobody knows this better than us, chartered accountants. Money matters, and money is the biggest motivation, and it should be. It should be. When we are seeking freedom, when we are seeking uh, all these good things for us, everything comes at a cost. Everything comes at a cost. And until and unless you have financial freedom, until and unless you have ensured that you have a good financial growth, your trajectory has allowed you to purchase all the things in the world which you desire for, not just you what you need. See, earlier, probably 30, 40, 50 years ago, people only bought what they actually needed. In today's world, people are taking cruise holidays, people are spending on iPhones, people are spending on lavish things in their lives, not because they need, just because they can. And let me tell you, my dear friends, my dear colleagues, I do take the liberty of calling you friends, but let me tell you, let nobody stop you from taking that joy in your life. If you want that iPhone, go buy it. If you want to take that cruise holiday, go and take it. If you want to indulge in some sort of shopping, be my guest. Because whatever you're doing it out of your own pocket, and allow yourself the indulgence. Why? Because life is too short. You never know. You never know when there might be a break to all the path that you're taking. So not sort of threatening anyone, but yes, just a reality check that make your financial growth speak in such a manner that one day when you want to take the decision of whether to have this or not, you can allow yourself the option of saying yes. That's the most important thing. So the 6 steps of growth ladder tells you that growth not just means financially, not just career wise, not just your social growth. It actually means your spiritual growth also, your physical growth also, and your intellectual growth also. So all these things we can combine and tell ourselves that yes, we have had some progress. Moving forward, I think I already shared this that personal growth, when we speak of it, personal growth comes when we have a right to make mistakes, when we allow ourselves the indulgence that yes, we can make mistakes. Nobody is perfect, and nobody should judge me based on my results. I should be judged based on my efforts. And that leads us to a very important question. And I believe that professional competitions, I'm sure all the competitions that we have in this world, we'll come back to this later. This is a very important question: journey versus destination. Now, it's a very personal question. Also, I'll request Supriya ma'am, what's your take on this? Journey versus destination. What do you feel is more important?
See, I am a student mentor, and I keep telling my students that your destination is becoming a CA, but the journey need not be like really troublesome or it's torturous. So I truly, truly believe that your journey is you because you're living each day, right? And every day is
True,
precious and beautiful. So
true.
journey is as important as the destination for me.
And when weighting these two options, journey versus destination, which one would you rank higher, journey or destination,
If I
if you
get
had
my
to choose one?
journey right, then my destination, whatever
Right.
I want, will automatically happen. So journey
Perfect.
has to be right.
Perfect. Thank you, ma'am. Which means that you're a person who believes in efforts, and as Bhagavad Gita also says, that do your efforts, put in your hard work, the result will follow itself. Uh, I have a very interesting story to share with all of you, and it's a story that I, recently had the opportunity of visiting a town nearby in Uttar Pradesh called Chitrakoot, and it tells me the tale of Treta Yuga. Now we are getting into some different sort of zone here, and I would allow myself to, take on the hat of a storyteller now. It's a very interesting story, and uh, I about 3 years ago, I happened to travel to Chitrakoot, which is a sort of a city, a town which is shared by UP and MP. It's on the border, so between UP and MP, we have this town. The town is, of course, known for the history it has connected with the Ramayana, and when Lord Ram, in fact, was exiled by King Dashrath's order, and he went to Chitrakoot to spend the starting few years of his exile. Now, I heard a story in Chitrakoot which stayed with me, and it has sort of stayed with me until now because I find it very relevant for chartered accountants and the manner in which we conduct ourselves. And this is a tale of Treta Yuga, what we can learn from Treta Yuga, of course. Now, all of us, as we're aware, that the uh, God and the Lord of Treta Yuga was Prabhu Sri Ram, right? And I have taken the sort of liberty to show you a picturized version. This is from the Ramayan by Ramanand Sagarji, and most of us have not read the Ramayan, but we have seen it on televisions. Uh, that too, most of us during COVID. I did it during childhood also, and COVID, the first lockdown, we revisited. So this is a scene from Ramayan where I'll tell you the story, what happens actually. So King Dashrath, who's the king of Ayodhya, he has consulted Maheshi Vashisht, and now he wants to go on a very spiritual journey. He is thinking about his spiritual growth and his own uh, connection with his being, with his supreme being. So he says that I have spent all of my life looking after the workings of court and looking after the people of the town Ayodhya, so kingdom, and now I want to have some time to myself. That's why I want to make my elder son Ram as the king of Ayodhya. So he consulted with Maheshi Vashisht, and Maheshi Vashisht gave his blessings. All the people in the court, they also said that they have had a very good experience with Prabhu Shri Ram, and he'll be a perfect fit for the role of king. Now this thing was decided unanimously, and this thing was conveyed to Prabhu Shri Ram. Now initially he was hesitant. He was a bit hesitant because he said that my lord, my father, when you are doing such a fantastic job, you are doing a wonderful job, why think of me as a king? Have I done something wrong? So uh, the king Dashrath replied that no, my son, this is just because I want to have some connection with my own spiritual being, so I want you to look after the people of this kingdom. So he very reluctantly he accepted the offer of being a king. Now, this was conveyed to all the Nagarvasis, Ayodhya Vasis, and the Ayodhya Vasis were jubilant. They were very happy. Everybody was very happy because now their favorite Lord Ram is going to become king. Everybody was happy. Everybody was dancing except one person. Who was that person? That one person was not happy. That one person, you can see right in the middle of the screen, was her, Mantra. She was not happy. She was an assistant to Mata Kekai, and she, of course, was not happy because her own doubts were that once Ram becomes king, uh, Bharat will be ignored, and nobody's going to, ask him for anything. And Mata Kekai also, will not be looked after properly. So what she did, she conveyed her doubts to Mata Kekai, and sort of the innocent soul Mata Kekai was, she instantly believed everything Mantra said, and she decided that it was her time to take what was rightfully hers. Now what she did, and me, by the way, whatever I'm saying, this is on record, all right? This is there in the Ramayana Chopais and everything. We have already seen this. My anecdote hasn't started yet. The part that I'm going to bring to your attention is going to come up in a bit. So now what happens is that okay, she,
Well, sir,
all
I'm a
those
bit hearing.
nasty
There's
things
some
by
network issue.
Mantra, so she decides that what is rightfully hers, she'll take it for Bharat. Now the next part comes is that she has to go to Kop Bhavan. Now the concept of Kop Bhavan, it was a very very simple. Says that any queen of the kingdom who wants to who is sort of uh, who's not pleasant with the king, or who's not getting all the help from the king, she can actually leave the kingdom. But needs to leave the kingdom, she has to spend one day in the Kop Bhavan, where she'll take off all the jewelry and all the kingdom sort of attire, and in a vesh of a sadhu or sadhvi, she'll have to spend the day. And if the king actually comes to ask her and take her back or take her back to the palace, then it's fine. But if the king does not visit to the Ko Bhavan, she'll have to leave palace and go in the jungle next morning. This was the concept of Ko Bhavan. Now, Mata Kekai, when went to meet her, uh, he was told that Mata Kekai has go for Raja Darshan, because he was a very honest man, and he was a man of integrity. So if his queen goes to Go Bhavan, it's a sort of a big question mark on his integrity. So he definitely reaches out to her, and as you can see on the screen, that she's there lying on her spread it out, and she's there with all the despair on her face, and she's very sad. Raja Darshan then comes to her, sees all the ornaments that she has taken away, and with that sort of sadness on her face, Raja Darshat asks her that, "My lady, what is the problem? Why are you so sad? And why have you actually come to Tukobhaman?" Now, Kekai, Mata Kekai, what she does is, as we all know, she said, "Ki when you made Ram the king of Ayodhya, you did not consult with me. All right." Raja Darshat said that that is my fault. Okay, I'll accept this. This is my mistake. I should have consulted with you. So, what do I do now? She said that I have two wishes from you, and I would like to execute those wishes. So he said, "Two, you can take 200. No problem. I'm a such a person, and I'm a person with a big heart. I can give you anything." So she said, "Not 200. I just want two." So he said, "Anything that you say, you please come back to the palace." So that day, both of them, they go back to the palace. Now comes the next scene. In the palace, she actually announces what she wanted. Now, this is where I would want my participants to actually tell me what was it that she demanded? What were her two wishes? All of us know. All of us know. What were her two wishes? Supriya ma'am, if you could contribute, please.
That Bharat should be the king and Ram should be exiled. He should go to the
Right.
forest.
Perfect. Perfect. So, her wishes were that Ram should be sent to exile, and the throne should be given to Bharat. He should be made the king. Now, when King Dashrath heard this, he was immediately taken aback. He said that, Rani, that I have no problem in Bharat becoming a king, because in fact, Ram and Bharat are just like two eyes to me, because I have actually no difference among those. So if you want to make Bharat the king, please be my guest. Definitely make Bharat the king, but do not take away Ram from me. That is my only request. And then Rani Queen KK said those famous words that Raghukul Reet Sada Chali Aaye, Pran Jaye Par Vachan Na Jaye. She said to him that you promised to do anything for me, but when I ask you for those simple things, you refuse to give me. What sort of Raghuvanshi you are? What sort of Suryavanshi you are? So now Raja Dashrath is in a complete mess. He does not know what to do. So he comes back to his chamber, and now this is where my anecdote starts actually. Now, this is where the interesting part comes, because up till now, everything we've all heard multiple times. Okay, so this is what all of us have heard. Now, the anecdote that I am about to narrate, I heard it from a person in Chitrakoot, and the interesting part is that every child in that area, Chitrakoot, knows about this story, this anecdote. But nobody outside Chitrakoot has ever heard of it. And so now it's my time to propagate that story, and it's a very interesting one, given the nature of working that we chartered accountants are actually doing. So it'll help us. It'll help us develop a very important word, and I'll come back to that later. Now, when Raja Dashrath was sitting in his chamber, it was very sad. He was in a mess. So one of his ministers, Sumant, came up to him that Maharaj, what is the matter? Why are you so sad? So Raja Dashrath told him of the conditions that KK Mata had. The conditions were these two: exile to Ram, throne to Bharat. Right. Suman said he thought for a moment and he said, Maharaj, what is the problem? We can do this. Maharaj Dashrath said, how can we do this? How can I send Ram to exile? You know I cannot live without him. How can I send him? So he said, Maharaj, let me repeat it for you. What are the two wishes of Mata KK? So he said that first wish is exile to Ram, and second is throne to Bharat. He said, Maharaj, let's do one thing. Let's interchange those. Let's do this way: throne to Bharat and exile to Ram. What's the difference? This is actually what she said: exile to Ram and throne to Bharat. And this is what I propose: throne to Bharat, exile to Ram. So Raja Dashrath was confused again. He said, Suman, what is the difference? You are saying the same things, but in a different manner. He said, Maharaj, that only makes the difference. That if you send Ram to exile, nothing can happen. Nothing can stop him. But if you actually give Bharat the throne first, if you make him the king first, he loves his own brother so much that once he becomes king, the first order that he'll will give is that Ram is not going to exile. Ram has to stay in Ayodhya. And now Ramji will have a sort of dharma sankat in front of him, whether to accept the orders of his father or whether to accept the orders of his king, who's now Bharat. And it is always said in Shastras that the orders of a king are superior to the orders of a father. And through this way, we can have everything sorted. Mata Kekai's two wishes done completely fine. Ram will stay with him and Bharat will be the king. So everything sorted. Now, my dear participants, do you find any folly with this? Or you think this is the perfect plan to go? Imagine we are all in the Treta Yuga, okay? Now imagine we are all Ayodhya Vasis and we have got to know about this plan. You think this is okay? Or there's a problem with this? Let me know if any participant has anything to say in this. I think the plan is perfect and can be executed nicely, right? But sir and ma'am, as all of you know, this actually did not happen. Ram did go to exile, and Bharat later became the king. This plan was never executed. Why? Because of one person. There was one person who actually ensured that this plan never happens. This plan is a flop. Who was that person? Any guesses? Ma'am, any guesses from your side? Who could have been that person? From whole of Ayodhya, the person who deliberately who stopped this plan from happening.
Yes.
My dear colleagues, probably you have guessed it, or probably you have not guessed it, but the one person who actually stood in the way of this plan actually executing was none other than Prabhu Shri Ram. He was the one, because when he actually got to know that this sort of plan is being hatched and this sort of planning is being done to, let's say, circle around the wishes of my mother, and this sort of planning is being done, he was the first person to come up and say, I do not want to simply follow the letter of my mother's wish. I actually want to follow the spirit of her wish. Very important factor. Not the letter of the law, but the spirit of the law. That's what we are taught to do. Again, substance over form. Very, very key factor. What we are taught. We have to look at the substance over actual form. The form is irrelevant. What is the intention behind it? That's what we have to do. And as chartered accountants, the first and foremost thing that we always need to do is to identify the intention behind the law. Whenever we read any law, whenever we do any analysis, the first thing that we need to do is not go by the letter of the law, but go by the spirit of the law. And Prabhu Shri Ram was like that. The teachings he gave were in a manner which said that your journey is very important, because in his whole life, he was called a Maryada Purushottam. In his whole life, he never did anything which could be called against Maryada, against what was right. Even if that meant giving your opposition multiple chances, because he could have easily swept over Sri Lanka in those times. He could have easily swept over, he could have easily defeated Raman, he could have easily taken Mata Sita back. But what did he do? He followed the protocols. He first sent his messenger. He first offered the option to the opposition to accept defeat. And he knew that any one of his commanders were so well adept, they could have easily defeated Raman by their own. But he did not do that. He followed what was the Dharma. So, following the Dharma is what Lord Ram taught us. And he said that your journey is actually more important than your destination. Now, my dear colleagues, I'm sure all of you are sort of inspired by this. But let's not get ahead of ourselves, because this was the tale of Treta Yuga. We have another tale of Dwapar Yuga. Who was the Lord of Dwapar Yuga? In the Dwapar Yuga, Krishna Bhagwan, Lord Krishna. What was his teachings? You need to have your destination sorted. Take whatever journey, whatever you want to do. Lord Krishna, in his lifetime, as a child, as a grown up, he did so many things which were exact opposite of Maryada. He killed a lady, Putna. He killed his own maternal uncle. He in fact fled from a war and thus be known as called as Ranchod. No other person, no other god could have done so apart from Lord Krishna himself. And despite that, he gave one of the most important teachings to the world in the form of Bhagavad Gita. What was his dharma? Now, this is my time to tell all of my parts that please let nobody tell you whether journey or destination is important. That's your own call. Prabhu Ram taught us that journey was important. Destination would come along its way. And what Lord Krishna told, I want results. I do not care what you're doing is right or wrong. Prabhu Ram never spoke a lie in his entire life. And Lord Krishna was such mischievous person to his extent, he even got Yudhishthir to lie to his own to his own guru. I'm sure the Ashwathama story everybody must have heard. Ashwathama mara gaya nar nahi hathi. That was a fantastic example of what Dharma meant to Lord Krishna. Because Dharma does not mean that you always do the right thing. Dharma means you get the right result. Now, my dear colleagues, I am sure many of you are confused here that what do we need to do? We need to go for journey, we need to go for destination. Now, that is not for me to tell you. This is my only telling. This is the only thing that I can tell you is that I cannot tell you anything. It is for your own mind to apply what I need to do. And that tells me the most important word, which is called perspective. Now, here comes the most important word, which is called perspective. For my own growth, this perspective is important. I cannot look everything through my own lenses. I need to have a look of what the other person's vision looks like. And when we all of us start doing that, we actually become a greater person. We actually become a better person. The only thing stopping us from being kind is getting to know the other person's story. My story, ma'am's story. We have whatever number of participants we have. Each participant has their own story. The story of how they become chartered accountant. The story of the day when they got their finals result. Everybody, each one of us has had that moment when we saw that pass appear in on the screen. Now, ma'am, probably you and me both, and many of our participants, we only passed, but this generation, this people are getting actually successful. So they are getting successful from the first moment itself, from the result day itself, and that's a very good thing. I think that's a very good initiative taken by the examination committee. So that's something that we can all learn from. Is that each one of us has a story. The story does not begin with myself and the other person. The story revolves around each one of us. To other person, I am just a character in their story. To the other person, I'm just a character in their story. And to my story, I am everything. I sometimes, as a good director, as a not just an actor, but as a good director, I need to have what other person are cooking in their head. And when I can get the perspective of that other person, I'll actually feel that that person has their own reasons for doing things. So truly speaking, perspective is something which will get us a long way. And for embracing growth, embracing that growth mindset, we need to have perspective. In Hindi, we call it nazariya. This means not just what you are looking, what I am looking, what the other person is looking, how the other person is feeling. Probably at 5 p.m., I was sort of in a turmoil because I had to create a presentation. I had to make sure everything was right. Not everybody else was in such a turmoil. Everybody started clicked on their laptops or their mobile phones and sat with their hands folding and resting on their chairs, looking at let's see what this person has to offer. All right. When Sridhar sir joined us, it was very casual. Why? Because for him, it's a normal routine. It's an everyday job. But for ma'am, Supriya ma'am, you probably had to read the profiles. You had to probably do the entire work once or twice because we actually care for this thing. This is our perspective, and we need to have that perspective. When we see a person walking down the streets, a bit worried, a bit sort of in a tensed mood, we often say we are very quick to judge, but we are very late to understand why that person is feeling that emotion, why that person is in turmoil, why that person is not so happy, why is there a smile missing from his face. Now, I'm not telling you that to bring a smile on his face is your job. No, that's your own call, whether to bring smile to that person's face or not. But to understand why the person is feeling that way will help you take decisions in the right manner. Because when we get perspective, and that's what happens from us. When I was a student, I was often struggling with my taxation answers and law answers, audit answers. I was struggling with the theoretical part. And one day my mentor very good advice gave me, stuck with me for a while, that you are writing answers from your own perspective. You're writing everything you can. Write the answer from the examiner's perspective also. Because when he's getting to check your copies, when they're getting to mark your answers, they should also be able to judge what you're writing. What you are writing is a perfect, but nobody is able to read it. So what's the use? See the other person's perspective. And that probably has taught me that in this entire race that all of us are running, probably running is not the ideal way to cover it. Probably we can walk it, we can stroll through it, we can pace it, or we can jog through it, whatever our own body, whatever our own conscious allows. So I think perspective is a very, very crucial term. And when we gain perspective, Treta Yuga is not today's time. Dwapar Yuga is not today's time. Today's time is Kali Yuga. So be a Kali Yuga's person. You cannot be Lord Ram. You cannot be Lord Krishna. You can just be who you are. And you can imbibe their teachings. You never have to blindly follow anything. And let me tell you, it's a very simple fact. You can either follow Lord Ram or you can follow Lord Krishna because their teachings are very, very opposite to each other. Or you can do a third thing, which all of us are known for doing, is the hybrid thing. You can take the situation, you can assess the situation, and see whatever is applicable to me. That's the third thing. You can assess the situation and see what's the best thing applicable for me in this case. And the most important part, do not regret it. Once you've taken the decision, do not regret it. There's a very common saying, and all of us, when we are working with clients, when we're working in audits, there's a very, very problematic situation that comes to us, which is regarding the data confidentiality or the conflict of interest, right? Many times, the clients, what they're expecting from us is not audit services, but rather advisory services during audit. They'll come to us saying that, sir, this and this thing we have done. Now, you tell me how to save myself. And what innocent soul we are. We actually start thinking that way only. Instead of saving ourselves, we are actually trying to save the client. And I do agree. That's a good thing to a large part of the job. But that's not our job. Our job is not to save anyone. The only thing that we must try to save is the brand image of the CA logo. Because my social network, my social growth is completely dependent on this particular logo. Now, in times when there are other professions who are sort of struggling hard to get the monopolistic work of mine and sort of trying and pulling each way out to get those sort of works in their own hands, what am I doing? I am going in the field of AI. I am going in the field of data analytics. I am going into the field of public speaking, expressing myself. And by I mean all of my colleagues. What we are doing, we are taking a step forward because our approach is not backward looking. Our approach is forward looking. And when we see this moving forward, what do we have? We have some very, very, very basic examples of chartered accountants who have actually followed this. One very good example, CA TN Chaturvedi ji. If anybody has not heard the name, let me tell you, CA DN Chaturvedi ji is a legend from the town of Mathura. He traveled from Mathura to Mumbai, met Dhirubhai Ambani, impressed the great man, and now DN Chaturvedi ji, he took on the role of Reliance's auditors, and now, although an inspiration for many students from Mathura also, from nearby regions also, he actually called young chartered accountancy students to Mumbai, arranged their stay, and helped them in each possible manner to actually become a chartered accountant. A legendary story. Was anything which was not in his favor earlier? Yes, a lot of things. The one thing which was in his favor was his mindset. He belonged to a growth mindset person, not a fixed mindset person. He said that I have got certain problems and I'm going to change those. One very, very good example, CA Web of Taneja, again, CFO of Tesla, an Indian chartered accountant, handling finances of one of the most richest person in the world. Who do people trust when it comes to their finances the most? Chartered accountants. Our trainings and our sort of the growth years of a chartered accountant are actually what made us the technical, the sort of benchmark for a technical competence. And moving forward, one thing that we all must remember always is that we have a lot of moral obligation to maintain this brand. Now, there are some suggestions from my side which I can offer to my colleagues, and definitely those suggestions everybody can take in their own spirits. One is from my side, we must focus on continuous learning. Now, there are many professions that I've seen young people. What they do is, Supriya ma'am, what they do is, I'm sure you also have seen. Once they clear the results, once they get their results cleared, the first thing that they do is actually put out all the books out of from shelves to a storage box, never to be found again. They say that we have got freedom from those. They say that we have actually got freedom from those books. I'll never study those books again. Ma'am, what you and I are doing, what all of our chartered accountants doing, still revisiting our CA final books. As you can see behind me, some of the books, and I do have right alongside me some of my CA final book. I recently had to take a session on Indias, and one of my colleague, he very generously lent to me his CA final Indias book, and I honestly had very little clue about Indias before I started. But once I went through all the material that he provided to me, it became very easy for me because I genuinely feel that the learnings that we do from our intermediate and final parts are to be sustained throughout the lives. Are we not revisiting accounting standards every day? Are we not revisiting standards on auditing, SREs? Are we not revisiting them every day? Whatever profession, whatever domain we might choose for ourselves, we might be in advisory, we might be into consultancy, we might be into audit, we might be into taxation, law, financial reporting, whatever, whatever. The one thing that we must revisit is our old books. And ma'am, probably you'll appreciate this that I, because of my nature of work, I am a bit into public speaking. Probably nobody else would have done this. I still revisit my OC and GMCS notebooks modules because I genuinely feel that the material in the GMCS modules institute has provided very good material. The art of negotiation, how to deal in public, how to express yourself. So those books are almost like my Gita and my Bible. Those modules, because I've developed a bonding with them. And all of my chartered accountants, if they want to have a growth mindset, because let's face it, we have seen the benefits of having a growth mindset. The first and foremost thing is to love your modules, is to all keep surrounded by all the books, and definitely ICI has played a very good role in this in the means of certificate courses. I'm sure many of us have enrolled, have qualified certificate courses. I also had an exam today, assessment of one of the certificate courses. I would have done fairly well, but yes, I had today, and in the next coming days, again, I'm going to appear for another certificate course. I'm doing this regularly. I'm doing this throughout, and I do tell each and every fellow of mine that please, if you have that CA degree, that chartered accountancy degree you have had, pardon me for my words, but I do not think that any other degree is required. I may be wrong because as I spoke earlier, as I'm also human, but yes, I do genuinely feel that this CA degree in itself is more than sufficient in many manners. If you're into practice, if you're into entrepreneurship, if you're into job, once you get this CA degree, you have almost all the bases covered. Of course, specialization if you want to have, your call. But again, continuous learning, very important. And also, when we continuously learn, We need to know that every assignment, it's either a win or a learn. There's no failure in that. That's my first call. My second call would be to welcome feedback. After this session would be done, after the feedback would be given, I'll be calling the committee and I'll be asking, how was it? Was it good? What were my points of improvement? What suggestions do you have for me? This way, I'll ensure that I get the other person's perspective also. And it's very important to have the other person's perspective because, as we just discussed a few moments earlier, you are just a character in other person's story. Your story is entirely yours, but for other person, you're just a character. And if they want to see you do well, they'll give you feedback. And honest feedback should always be appreciated. You can get it from your peers, from your clients, mentors, or maybe random people you walk into. You can definitely learn a lot from that. So the second person for having a growth mindset is welcoming feedback, continuous feedback. The third thing is to avoid comparisons. And that's a very important thing because many a times we compare apple with oranges. My story is entirely different from other person's story. I cannot envy or I cannot feel jealous with other person's success. I actually need to celebrate that person's success. And there could be no comparison. This goes out for all the professional degrees itself. Many degrees, many professions which have started comparisons with chartered accountants, they'll also have a good time learning that instead of comparison, collaboration is the way to, and that will actually take you forward. And a very famous example of avoiding comparison and instead of collaborating, uh, we have had in multiple sports occasions. We have had, for example, in the cricket field also there was a lot of comparison between Virat Kohli and Rohit Sharma, who's the better leader, who's the better person. And when you see, there was a sort of race as to who could be a better opener, who could be a better player for Team India. Came the 2024 T20 World Cup. What happened? What did we see? Both of them together opening the innings for Team India. Collaboration. And what was the result? The result was that we actually waved the Indian flag in the finals. We won the finals, T20 World Cup, after a very long period of about 13 years. India won a final. Why? Because instead of comparison, the people started collaborating and they started realizing that my strengths and your strengths, when they come together, they form a much beautiful whole. And that leads me to believe that uh, I can truly change the world if I stop comparing myself from other person. And when I can change my world, of course I do have the capacity to change the entire world. So that's one point. Fourth thing is would be to set learning oriented goals. I am sure most of us would have a diary just like this, a diary. Each one of us keeps a diary. We must also write goals in that diary, and those goals must be broken into small goals because that's very important to have a realistic understanding of yourself. I cannot be setting a goal to mean that I need to finish a book in the next 5 days. I won't be able to finish a book in the next 5 days, so I should not be setting a goal which is practically impossible. But what I can do is, given the schedule that I have, I can ensure that I read 20 pages by the end of the day, or I can read 15 pages, 30 pages, whatever my time allows. So I can self set a very small goal for myself, and that I could do in a writing. Because when you do things in writing, of course, documentation, essay 230, very important. Yes. Second thing, when you actually tick those goals, the sort of joy that you feel after ticking those goals is immense. You can always pat yourself in the back and say, "Yeah, good job. You have earned yourself something." And that happens with a lot of people. What we are doing is we are setting unrealistic goals, unrealistic standards for us. Let us remember that nobody is perfect, number one. Number two is that instead of having a broader goal, we can have small milestones in the terms. So let's say each one of us has taken a new year resolution sometime or the other in their lives. What happened to those new year resolutions? In 70, 80, 90% cases, those resolutions were never kept. They were kept 1st January, 2nd January, 3rd January, 4th January. Now, 5th of January onwards, the temperature is too cold outside. I cannot go out, and whatever my sort of resolution was for myself, cannot do anything. So, what should I do? I should not be setting an unrealistic goal for myself. What I can do is setting a realistic goal, a small milestone. And I want all of you to start with today. Whatever thing you have in your mind, whatever thing that has been bothering you, bugging your mind since long, just write it on a piece of paper or a diary, whatever you have, or your cell phones. Yes, break that into small goals and write the first part of that goal. For example, I want to learn, let's say, how to speak Spanish. Okay, random code. Now, my first step to learning how to speak Spanish is not to master the language of Spanish. It would be to learn hi, hello, greetings in Spanish. That would be my first task. Okay. So, day one, hi, hello. Okay. Now, since I've ticked that point, I should set the goal for the next day only after the first day goal is done. That's very important. Because what we are doing is we are setting the standards, setting the goals for the next 20 days, 30 days. Never going to happen. Set it for one day, complete it, then move on to the next task. That way, you can always have the adaptability to your changes. Very important. When you set goals for yourself, ma'am, I think this is true for all of us.
Yes, yes. No, Rupal sir, I just wanted to ask you a question regarding this.
Please.
Yeah, but you can just finish this part and I'll ask.
No, please, I'm comfortable, please.
Yeah. So I was very curious to know, you've given such lovely tips, but in our highly competitive and pressure environments, how do in like CAs especially, how do we
Correct.
maintain that growth mindset? There are
Yeah,
deadlines and updates, so many things
that's very good.
happening together. So how do they ensure that in spite of all this, they continue with this mindset? That is my question to you.
True. Absolutely. Ma'am, I think I have a five-letter word for you. And that five-letter word is called bluff. BLUFF. Okay. I haven't written that in my PPT, but I'll still elaborate that for you. You need to start bluffing yourself. How come? BLUFF. Now, first thing, B starts for being truthful. The first and foremost problem that we create for ourselves is to lie out of our teeth. And this happens with the best of us. We do lie a lot, all of us. I'm not talking about chartered accountants, I'm talking about human beings. Human beings do lie a lot. And for any person who says that I've never lied in my life, sir and ma'am, my pranam to all of you, but you're lying again. Everybody has lied. And everybody has lied out of their teeth. The first and the easiest thing, this is not a complex thing. First and the easiest thing is to being truthful. Now, ma'am, I am very sure that the next question comes, sir, it is not possible. Sometimes you have to say other things which you're not supposed to say. In that manner, I have a very relevant tip that I do on a daily basis is that whenever I have something which I cannot bluntly say, I do speak my word around it. And in that case, I not only save myself from the conflicting situation or maybe putting the other person in an embarrassing situation. I work my way around it. And what happens is that when you work your way around, sometimes you have to be in the position of Yudhishthir. सत्य हमेशा नहीं बोला जा सकता, अर्ध सत्य पर रुकना पड़ता है. So that's the first thing is being truthful. Now, when we start to being more truthful in our daily lives, what will happen is that we sort of ease ourselves, because one lie tends to create another scenario where I need to lie again, and there's a domino effect. So it keeps happening again and again. But when I'm being truthful, I'm being honest with myself and with the other person also. The easiest thing that I need to do is I just need to relax. And since I've not lied about anything, there's a sort of sparkle on my face. And you can see that the face is shining bright because you have nothing to hide. And you can be aggressive also. Not recommending being aggressive, but yes, of course, you can be aggressive. Why? Because you have nothing to hide. You have not lied. You're not put another person in a situation where you are actually manipulating them. No, you're not doing anything of that sort. So when you're not doing that thing, you are feeling very, very confident and relaxed. So to get that result, the effort is to ensure that you do not lie. You be truthful. That's my first thing. Out of the bluff, the first thing is be, which means be truthful. The second thing, L, it stands for living in the present. This is one thing that we do not do ever. We are either living in the past, right, or manifesting the future. We are either regretting that this and this thing I could have done differently, or I'm, let's say, thinking of something else. So for that, I have a very, very simple theory is that uh, it's not easy, first of all, to forget the past. The best thing that we can do is we can have a realization that whatever we have done at a point of time in our lives, that was actually what we wanted to do. So there's no point of regret. Whatever our decisions are, they're conscious decisions. In the hindsight, they might look true or wrong. They might look correct or wrong in the hindsight. But to me today, I cannot possibly look what's in the future. So if I don't know the future, my today is based on my past conditions, which I'll take, and I promise to myself that I will not regret it. So that is the second part, living in the present. The third letter is U, which stands for understanding your capabilities. Now, this is one thing we never tend to do. We overcome it. Most of us overcome it. As chartered accountants in a highly pressurized environment, which you just mentioned, it's very easy because let's say it's not something which will not happen to you. It will happen to the best of us. You are going to get pressurized on the deadlines. 31st of July, ITR due date already extended to 15th of September. Nobody is coming to you in July except the pensioners or the persons craving for refunds. All the people are coming to you on 10th of September. Now, who has created this situation? Me, myself. Because I have overestimated my capabilities that I can handle these many clients in just a span of 5 days. I cannot. So the most important thing is to understand your capabilities. I'll give you a very good example of this because I remember this. I spoke about it a few days ago. The British comedian Charlie Chaplin, right, a famous comedian, world famous, legendary. So in 1920s, a competition was held in London where a person who could imitate Charlie Chaplin the best, uh, he would have won the competition. So the competition was, let's see who could imitate Charlie Chaplin the best. All right. The interesting part is Charlie Chaplin himself took part in that competition and stood third, which tells you that there were two people who could imitate Charlie Chaplin better than himself. So that tells you that you need to understand your capabilities. You cannot overcome it or undercome it. And once I do realize, I do speak to myself that this is the level that I can do, things become very easy. Specifically in the environment that you just mentioned, most of us are under a very, very important part, which is called peer pressure. Most of us are influenced by peer pressure, right from deciding where to pursue articleship from, where to take classes from, which books to read, what to pursue after CA, whatever decisions that we're making, all these decisions, majority of those are influenced by peer pressure. So what do? We speak to ourselves. We simply say to ourselves, okay, look, understand your capabilities. I, for once, had the choice of doing my articleship from from a big town. I spoke to myself, and I spoke very in a very clear manner that look, you're not going to be able to travel to another city every day, or not, you're not going to be able to live in another city. Just be where you are. Just be in a comfort zone. So I did that, and I pursued my articleship from my hometown only, and I have no regret about it. I perfectly enjoyed every moment of it, and I tell every person that it's a very important decision. You have to understand your capabilities. So in a pressurized environment, you must understand what you can do. The most important thing is do not overcome it. That was the thing. So one thing was be truthful, and then live in the present, understand your capabilities. Then F. F means faith. Have faith. When there's a super over, when there's a situation very tense, you're standing in the middle of the ground, 90,000 people standing uh, on the edges of this seat, and chanting your names, some in favor, some are against, millions of people watching you. You have no possibility of performing good until unless you have faith in your heart. That heart tells you a lot. My subconscious sometimes tells me I cannot do a thing. My conscious reverts saying that no, I will do that thing. So I have faith in my capabilities. And that's important, to have faith in your capabilities. And the last part, BLUFF, the last F, it stands for following your heart. Go where your heart goes. That's more important. You're not living in any other person's life. You're living your life. At the age of 60, 70, you're not going to look back and blame some other person. So the only person you should be congratulating or blaming should be you on yourself. Bhagavad Gita says that you are the creator of your destiny. You are the master of your own fate. So in a pressurized situation, I think I hope that answers your question, that in a pressurized situation, the only thing that you can do is to bluff.
Got
And
it.
by bluff, I what I meant. This is
Yes,
what I meant.
even I have noted it down. Thank you for your
Oh,
inputs. They
perfectly,
were
perfect.
really helpful.
Right,
Sir, we
right.
have one more question. Can we take it now?
Please.
Okay.
Yes, please
So,
answer.
Mr. Dhruv Prakash Shetty has asked that Treta Yuga era is of Dharma, Dwapar Yuga is era of Karma, but Kali Yuga is more on Artha. Right? So, can we balance all without disturbing other theories? That's his
Right,
question. Very
perfectly.
deep question.
Perfectly fine question. Yes, very good question. That he said that dharma, karma, and arth. Sir, I would somehow say that these four things, dharma, arth, kam, and moksha, these are four things. These are to be followed in every yuga. This is something which Guru Vashisht told Prabhu Sri Ram, that every person must work for their dharma, arth, kam, and then seek moksha, salvation. Sir, I think Treta Yuga, starting with Satyug, Treta Yuga, Dwapar Yuga, and even Kali Yuga, everybody has to follow their dharma, their karma, their kam, and their moksha. The only difference is how you approach it. The only difference in those yugs are how you have approached your dharma, arth, moksha, and kam. In the Satyug, it was all glorified. It was all pure. In the Treta Yuga, it was about the your inner abilities, your inner satisfaction. And even let me tell you, sir, since you have raised this question, it's a very important question. Even Prabhu Sri Ram, in his lifetime, once had to let go of his dharma. He once had to do something which was not right and which he knew was not right. What was that, sir? That was how he managed to kill Bali. When Bali was fighting Sugriv, Prabhu Sri Ram had to hide behind a tree and kill a person and shoot arrow at a person. His dharma did not allow. But what is not right is right when it is for a friend. So I think your friends can lead you to different situations. And Prabhu Sri Ram, even for his friend also, there was one moment in his life which he had to forego his dharma. Karma, of course, in Kali Yuga also you have to follow your karma. Sir, you have to follow your dharma, you have to follow your karma. Arth also you have to follow, because every time you work, earth is going to flow for you. Calm, you have to follow. So all the things that you have to follow, the only difference has been of approach. Your approach should be which gives you happiness, does not put any other person into a position of danger. Anything where you're not harming anyone else, and as long as you are happy about it, go for it. That's the only thing I can tell you. Right. I think that answers it, ma'am. Right.
Thank you so much,
We'll
sir.
right. We'll move forward. I do have a few more tips to follow. Uh, I very in a concise manner, I told you that you must never stop learning. Right. You must always look for collaboration. You must set out some long term and some realistic goals for yourself. You have always to replace your I can't with I can't yet. And when you add that yet word, it adds what? Potential. It adds potential. Because, for example, I do not know how to play a guitar, right? That's one sentence. I do not know how to play a guitar yet. That adds potential. When I add that yet to any word, it sort of gives me the belief that when I want to do that thing, I can do that. Now, let me tell you, sir, that as a child, each one of us has a very wide spectrum. As a child, you can become anything. When you're a child, you can become a doctor, an actor, an engineer, a CA, an MBA. You could become anything. As you grow, the spectrum, it narrows down. When you join CA course, you could have done multiple things along with CA also. Most of us, it's a very common thing. Most of us have thought that we are going to do CA, and along with CA, we are going to do four other things. We're going to this. Once the CA completes, we're going to go for this degree. We are going to go for this. We're going to go for this. As we, move further in our lives, the spectrum, it narrows down. What to do? It still is a very wide spectrum, because the spectrum has not narrowed down. Only our perspective has narrowed down. I initially started out as a very good chartered accountant. I believed in myself. Then I sort of started thinking of myself as a very good chartered accountant who could do taxation. I became an expert of taxation. I moved further. I became a very good chartered accountant who could do indirect taxes very. So I narrowed down my spectrum from a chartered accountant who could do everything, taxation. Then I came to indirect taxation. Then I forwarded myself and I said, I'm a very good chartered accountant who could do litigation in indirect taxation. Narrowed down again. But when I stand here and I speak to myself that I cannot do financial reporting, let's say I cannot do financial reporting, I'll have to speak to myself, I cannot do financial reporting yet, because it will take me time, and I do have time. First of all, nobody knows how much time they have left. That's a very good thing. Nobody has got met their creator, and the creator isn't telling anybody, and nobody knows the future. That's the beauty of it. In spite of what people might claim, nobody knows the future. So when you don't know the future, you have infinite possibilities and infinite potential, and that brings to you your power to actually widen your horizon. And when you widen your horizon, you have everything to achieve. Yes, there's a very good understanding that how much of achievement should be of value to you. So value addition is a very important thing. And I also always say that when we go out to buy things, we only buy when the cost of the product is less than the value of the product. Then it's a good buy. So the effort that you're putting in a certain task, when the result that you're getting out of that is greater than the effort put, then you can achieve something. हमेशा कभी भी ताले की कीमत अंदर के सामान से ज्यादा नहीं होती. We are surrounded a neighbor city, Aligarh, famous for its locks. Always it is said that the price of the lock cannot be more than the treasure it is guarding. So it's a very important thing to learn that yes, the yet word is always to be added. You need to celebrate other success. Yes, whenever you see any person succeeding, you need to put out your hand, clap for them, and feel good about them, because everybody has worked their way hard. Everybody has their own story, and when you celebrate others' success, it always gives you a positive mindset, not just a success mindset, not just a growth mindset, a positive mindset. And this positive mindset will take you to wonders. It will do wonders to your confidence, because when you start celebrating other people, people are going to celebrate you. And this world can only be better when we are kind to each other. So let's all be kind to each other. The one thing, and I've heard this many times, that curiosity killed the cat. No, it didn't. It didn't. There's one very, very common trait about many senior chartered accountants I've seen, and I've come across this, that the ones that I'm referring to, whenever there is a new suggestion, they sort of immediately ask you 100 questions about it. You put in a sort of new suggestion, then you drop a sort of a point, and they'll ask you 100 questions about it. And that will tell you that this is the greatness of the man, that he wants to learn from you also. The greatness of a man is to stay curious, to ask questions, to repeatedly ensure that the other person who's giving their time to me is worth their time and my time. So they need to have an interaction. I was watching an interview of the person who sold LinkedIn to Microsoft, and he said that during the conversation with Mr. Bill Gates, Mr. Bill Gates asked him about 1,000 questions related to LinkedIn. And the idea was not to sell him anything. The idea was to make him buy your product. He said that Mr. Bill Gates was so curious that he almost took away all the codings of the product, and at once the team was almost exhausted answering his questions. That's the greatness of a person. Whenever your office associate, whenever your junior comes up with something, if we put in our efforts, if we put in some questions about it, we are going to learn. And if we are not going to learn, the other person is going to learn. So, anyway, it's a win win situation. In the coming fields, in the modern technologies, we are seeing the changes in AI, auditing, blockchain, and accounting, and in the global scenarios. Whatever changes they are coming, as chartered accountants, we are all right ahead in these things. All of us would agree that ICI has taken a lot of initiatives, and most of us have the working knowledge of AI better than any sort of other professional. Not to demean anyone, but that's the truth, that most chartered accountants are now equipped with something that they can do better with AI. And it's a testament to the fact that the AI committee has already conducted so many batches, and still you do not find any new batch, because each batch is filled within seconds, within minutes. So that's a testament to how curious all of us are. And at this age, in this present scenario, staying curious is definitely going to be a pathway for success. My next point is practice resilience. I don't think I need to tell chartered accountants about resilience. Sir, you have been practicing resilience since long. Number of attempts, nobody is going to ask you, but yes, resilience is something that is inbuilt in a chartered accountant. A chartered accountant could be anything, but he's not impatient. A chartered accountant is always patient. He's always standing like a rock in front of all the troubles that life is throwing at him. So, a chartered accountant, I never need to tell what resilience is. Right. Circle is very important again. The circle, the people you talk to, the professionals that you are with, uh, Are they growth related? Are they growth oriented? Are they fixed with persons with fixed mindset? That's something that you need to ensure for yourself, for your betterment. Be a little selfish in that area. There's nothing wrong in being a bit selfish, and that's okay to be selfish. Selfish to the tune of you do not harm others. Wherever you find that you have something to gain, something to learn, you can always put in the extra effort. So there's no harm in being a little selfish. We're all humans. We're all humans of Kali Yuga. So nobody needs to mention that we're not perfect. Investing in soft skills, thanks to the committee of promoting work-life balance. Yes, we are all investing in our soft skills. These are our soft skills that we're developing, and we are ready for the grand stage. We're ready for the challenges that the world has to throw at us. So, for sure, public speaking, extempos, communication skills, all these things, chartered accountants must put themselves to test now and again. And there's nobody who is a better equipped with technical knowledge. And once that technically sound person gets the right amount of soft skills, there's no stopping them. They're like a tremendous force, so nothing can stop them. So I think I've covered most of the things. I think that's my time, and I think participants have sort of uh, given very important time to this session, and I'm really grateful. I think we're open to questions, if at all. First of all, thank you for being such a patient and lovely audience. And Supriya ma'am, over to you, please, for any questions if you have.
Uh, so currently we don't have any questions, sir,
Right.
but we would really like to thank you for your insightful session. Like, the
Thank you.
examples that you gave or the tips or, the spiritual angle, that was like something, it went into a very, very deep conversation.
Good.
And thank you for your precious time. We actually didn't realize that 2 hours just went by.
Right.
So thank you. And to all the participants, thank you for your time. Thank you for your questions. And please do fill in the feedback form. Right.
Sure.
Thank
Very
you so
important.
much, everybody. Thank you, Rupal sir. Thank you
Thank
for
you, dear
Samati
participants.
and all the
Hope to
viewers.
see you again very soon. And I hope this session has been of some meaning to all of you. You have spared your very important time, and you have joined us. And let the learning continue, because as chartered accountants, the only way we can embrace growth mindset is through continuous learning. And I'm sure that learning is never going to stop. We are not the professionals who keep the books in the shelves and never look at them back. We do keep them by our side at all times. And thank you again for having me. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir.